Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, hear about how a driverless car is helping research conducted at the U of A. That story and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is receiving an increased number of complaints this year, but MCSO officials say that's to be expected with the department asking for increased community input as part of a federal court order to stop racial profiling. Through the first half of the year, the Sheriff's Office has received 355 complaints compared to 311 for all of last year. And a candidate running for Congress in Congressional District 1 announced today that he has cancer. Republican Adam Quazman says that he was diagnosed a year ago with chronic lymphocytic leukemia, a slow-growing blood cancer. Quazman says that he will remain in the congressional race. He says the cancer was caught early, he has no symptoms, and he likely will not require treatment for at least 10 years. Tonight's edition of Arizona Technology and Innovation looks at how engineering and computer science students from across the country have been working this summer to advance driverless car technology. The research is being conducted at the University of Arizona and includes use of autonomous test vehicle, at least one of them, provided by the U of A. Here to talk about the research is Jonathan Sprinkle, a professor from the U of A Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, and Carlos Asuncion, a student who worked on that technology. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Okay, driverless car technology. What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking about technology that takes the driver out of the loop for some tasks. Quite a few of the injuries and deaths that happen every year in the U.S. happen in vehicles, and they happen at speeds that are not just fast speeds. So even under 25 miles an hour, there's a lot of dangerous things that happen.
And we had students from across the country, again, 8 undergraduate students. What exactly were they working on? What were they advancing?
They were thinking about small projects that they could do that would improve the state of the art. And some of the teams were focused on how high school students would be able to use the autonomous car in the high school. Some of the teams were also interested in decreasing the cost of some of the sensors that belong on autonomous vehicles. And that's an important consideration for consumer devices.
Explain why that's important, these sensors.
Some of the sensors can run as high as $50,000, $80,000. And that's a significant chunk of money to pay when your vehicle may not be worth that much. Not to mention, you want to have maybe more than one sensor in case it fails, and so we'd like to be able to have some redundancy.
So it's not like we read about this Google car that people just sit around and drive all over, the valley up there. This is a little bit different and a little bit less costly?
Well, we still have the expensive sensors to test. What we'd like to be able to do is say we can do the same thing for much less money that this expensive sensor can do. We need to be able to compare it to the expensive sensor in order to do that. Carlos,
what specifically did you work on?
I actually worked on seeing if we need the high-end sensor in order for the car to safely operate.
And what did you find out?
Well, we found the sensor we were using has 64 lasers that it uses to scan the area to detect obstacles and drivable paths. And we determined that for different driving situations, you might not need the 64 lasers in order to operate safely.
So maybe you need 32 or 0 or?
We found that for like highway settings, 16.
Okay.
And for maybe like parking lot settings where there's pedestrians and smaller objects you need to avoid, as small as 32.
Describe the process, like a typical day of research for you this summer. What did you do?
Well, we took the data we get from the high-end sensor and we would manipulate it to simulate other sensors with, say, lower accuracy, lower resolution, and we compressed that to a 2-dimensional height map that would allow us to compare the different sensors.
Is this the kind of thing, are these sensors now, are they looking for other cars on the road, telephone poles, curves on the highway, or is there a mapping technology that allows these sensors to understand what's happening out there in the first place?
The way the sensor operates, it catches it takes a sweep and gives you an image, a 3D image of the surroundings. And then from there, you need to run software in order to detect, okay, this big object is a car, this is a pole, avoid those areas.
And how far along are we with this particular technology?
I think it's getting closer and closer. And so companies like Google and other companies that take many of these devices or even produce these devices are very sophisticated in how they can consume that data and infer information about it. What we're really interested in is in being able to take something and just say, if we had this, we could drive in a parking lot, or your car could go get gas on its own while you were waiting at work. Little things like that don't seem like a lot, but I think that's the near-term future of autonomy.
That seems like quite a bit, actually, telling your car to go get gas and leave me alone. And a full-size car now. This test vehicle was a full-size vehicle.
That's right, and that's actually something that makes it both exciting and also extremely frightening. It's one thing to have a remote-controlled car and be able to say you can make it do cool stuff, but it's really dangerous to do it the wrong way.
And I would imagine as we're watching this video, this car, it's kind of moving around here, the steering wheel's kind of moving around. You can't really do much testing on a roadway because everyone would look at the car and you'd have 15 accidents because people go, hey, that car hasn't got a driver in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the parking lot is basically as far as you've gone so far.
To some degree. So this parking lot, we're very gracious. Our very gracious sponsors at the University of Arizona allow us to drive in this lot anytime we want. We have some near road conditions that we can use if we're able to close those off further south of town. But typically we've been focusing on things where we can just show proof of concept. And then we would, in the academic world, publish a paper and let industry take it from there to apply these technologies.
And Carlos was talking about using the sensor technology, kind of concentrating on that. Did different students concentrate on different things, or was everyone kind of focused on those sensors?
Yeah, each student group was focused on a different piece of the puzzle. And that's to give the students who were part of the program the experience of being in graduate school and thinking about big problems in society that they might be able to work on after they graduate.
Give us some examples of what they were working on.
And so one of the great examples was something called switched control. When you're driving on the highway, you actually drive differently than when you're driving in a parking lot. And when you're driving in a parking lot with no cars, you drive differently than a parking lot that has lots of active traffic and people walking their dog. And so we need to have software that can switch back and forth to different designs and different controllers depending on things it detects in the environment.
Interesting. And is that advancing? You getting there?
Absolutely. Part of it is not just being able to do it, but to think on a high enough level and to essentially be able to explain your design in a picture is really important, and that's what they were able to do.
What got you involved in all this? Where did all this start with you?
So I got really interested in control systems, and I was doing a different research program, and I wasn't really into it anymore. So then I did a quick search on the NSF website, and I found this program.
National Science Foundation. So
Yeah.
this was basically a National Science Foundation summer program, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, we're talking about robotics, we're talking about autonomous vehicles, but this kind of technology can be used in other things, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not exactly clear what we think of or what we invent today, how that's going to be used. And that's why it's important for people doing research in this area to be able to publish what they're working on. That, to some degree, is what separates us from the work that's going on by Google and other people, is that much of the work that they do, which is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say anything bad about the work that they're doing, but it's difficult for people outside of their area to get access to it.
So when we're talking about medical monitoring, we're talking about border enforcement, these sorts of things, that all plays a part, couldn't it?
Yeah, and in fact, we've been able to apply different kinds of results to people who drive assisted wheelchairs or electric wheelchairs to prevent rollover and driving over the curb and other things that cause serious injury and death.
And Carlos, as far as you're concerned now, you're at Berkeley, correct?
Correct.
Where do you want to take this? What's next for you?
Probably look into a different research program at my home school and continue doing research in autonomous systems.
So autonomous systems is pretty exciting for you?
Yeah.
Was that always the way, or was that just, again, I know you looked up this particular research program, but what, Carl Hayden High School, you said,
Yeah.
here in town? They got a pretty good robotics program going on over
do.
there, so I
They
guess
do.
that was kind of instilled in you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as what's next in this particular technology, you're the expert here. We've won all the awards and everything. What is next in autonomous systems technology?
I think that what we'll see is more and more autonomy creeping into today's vehicles, and we're even seeing it now on commercials on television about vehicles that have lane departure warnings and self-parking. That's going to become more and more common. Where it will be interesting is when we start to apply that, as you said, around other vehicles with people looking out at the spectacle that's going on. It'll be interesting to see where things go from there, and that's almost a humanities kind of question.
Indeed, because there is a societal impact here. You can't just, you don't work in a vacuum. This has got to work out there among the people, the other drivers.
Exactly, and I think that that's something that's often forgotten about engineering, is that we have to think about building things that improve society, and so you really do need some societal context in order to do that.
Well, congratulations again on your honors and your awards, and for teaching these young people, and congratulations to you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In northwest Arizona, just off State Route 95, stands a peculiar monument to the town of Oatman. Oddly, the marker is 15 miles from the town it honors. Wedged into the Black Mountains, the mining town of Oatman was established at the turn of the century. By the 1930s, nearly 2 million ounces of gold had been extracted from the surrounding mines. The price of gold and World War II forced the closure of the mines in the 40s. The town was delivered another blow when in 1952, a stretch of Interstate 40 opened, siphoning off Oatman's lifeblood, Route 66 traffic. It quickly became a ghost town. Route 66 is again its lifeblood. Nostalgia for the Mother Road and the Old West draw tourists from all over the world. They walk the boardwalks, hang with the local gunfighters, and are followed around by Oatman's most famous residents, the Burros, descendants of those set free by miners years ago. Being closer to Nevada than the town itself, Oatman's misplaced monument is long forgotten, but the town is remembered daily.
A long-term care community in Arizona is receiving national recognition for its best practices in dementia care. Beatitudes Campus has created replicable ways to decrease prescribed drugs, eliminate physical restraints, and to generally keep patients more comfortable. Reporter Lori Allen and photographer Scott Olson visited the Beatitudes Campus to see the groundbreaking principles in action.
Look at the pots up here, see? Well, they've been there, and we see those every once in a while.
Joanne and Philip Young married soon after they met.
On our first date, she laughed at my jokes, and she was a good dancer. And I figured, well, that's about all I really needed. And it's been that way ever since. We've been laughing together and having a great time.
60 years later, Phil visits his wife several times a day at a place unlike typical dementia communities.
Here you are, sweetie. You got to get your picture too, don't you?
Comfort first is the philosophy, with an emphasis on creating a sense of home.
The home that they're asking for may not be a reality any longer, but we're looking for those elements that stress the importance of home, those things that connect us to a broader sense of community, and those things that ultimately, at the end of the day, are the things that give us peace. All things really boil down to what makes you comfortable. So the individual who has napped in their living room, the person who likes the recliner better than their bed, should still have the opportunity to have those same kinds of patterns that have always made sense to them. So it's not my reality that's important, it's not what I say that matters, but it's rather what this person says that really counts.
Yeah, that's for you.
Alonzo calls the fourth floor the neighborhood, and taking away the dietary rules here helps.
I guess one is not too fattening.
No, ma'am, it's not.
When people have trouble thinking, when they have dementia, it's important to know that folks may not have the same kind of clock that everyone else has. And so being able to eat whenever you're hungry is really important. Being able to sleep whenever you want to is really important. So if the person happens to be hungry or thirsty, there's something always available that will help them provide a sense of comfort and security. You want to sit down for a little bit?
Alonzo is credited with many of the common sense ideas behind Comfort First. She'll tell you it's a team effort. Like almost everyone she works with, Alonzo got into this career because a loved one suffered.
My grandmother was my mentor and someone that I looked up to more than anyone else in life. And when she succumbed to dementia and started to show all the symptoms that we normally see, it was really heartbreaking for my family. But what I learned out of the experience is that there had to be something more. There had to be quality of life. There had to be an opportunity to embrace who she truly was. And so I've been in pursuit of that.
That pursuit has meant the elimination of restraints, diapers, and many drugs.
Doris? All right, good.
And instead of scheduled activities, play is spontaneous.
What we're trying to do is to get people to realize that indeed there's this person inside, this beautiful, beautiful person, and there are so many other ways to make meaningful connection beyond the language of the brain, blah, 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 blah. The language of the heart and soul, through touch, through taste, through song, through a kiss, through a smile, all of these things. And from a change perspective, isn't this feasible? Isn't this easy to replicate? Does it cost a lot of money? No. Where's the change taking place? Between our ears, in our heart, isn't it?
Let me call you sweetheart. I'm in love with you. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Gallagher, a professional singer for 30 years, has found a new audience. It happened when she started working for Hospice of the Valley and collaborating with the Comfort First program at Beatitudes.
It's the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done in my life, every single day. It's difficult, but it's very fulfilling. You know, think about it. People with dementia lose their ability to think and interpret, right? So Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia are diseases of the brain. But they're not diseases of the heart, the soul, whatever elements of a human being you want to label it.
Everyone can do this. It is changing the way you think about giving the care.
And the Comfort First philosophy saves money.
When you anticipate someone's needs, you don't have to spend the money on products to keep someone dry. You don't have to buy expensive supplements or nourishments because they're eating good food. When you have someone who is comfortable, the staff that you have doesn't have to spend time trying to fix because they're uncomfortable. So the same staffing that we had back 10, 15 years ago is exactly what we have now. We always make sure that we have staff who know how to take care of the person. And so it is very economical. Being able to know that you help somebody to smile or feel that there was a special moment is priceless. It is the kind of thing that nurtures your own soul.
I know, yeah, I would want to go.
This is an intricate type of a hanging and tapestry, but we just comment on this almost every time that we come by because it's so pretty. You know, she can forget Yeah, she can forget sometimes day to day, but then it's so nice to, again, be able to see something familiar like that, something we appreciate. Joanne's had her memory problems. It goes back, eight or 10 years really, but it was to the point where we always knew we were going to have some additional help along the way. And Beatitudes has an outstanding program for that kind of memory support.
It's kind of funny sometimes because she'll joke and she'll say, oh, I know he's messing around with other women. And he laughs and he gets a chuckle out of it, and he brings Daisy, his little dog, over and says, now when she tells you I've been with other women, why, this is the only woman I've been with. You know, and he has his little dog at his arm. So and she has a great sense of humor, and he does too, and they're so loving. You know, you can see it when they're together.
Oh, you're so cute. Honey, I love you. Next to Daddy.
We get by. We know that we just have to take it one day at a time. There's comfort in that.
Comfort First considers what some call innovation as simple common sense in allowing residents to live the flexibility in a relatively unstructured manner within a long-term care environment. For more information, you can check the website beatitudescampus.org. Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's a Journalists Roundtable. We'll discuss the latest polls on the governor's race, and we'll have more on an Arizona congressional candidate announcing that he has cancer. That's on the next Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.